This is the alternator removal on a 2003 Lincoln LX with a V8 motor. Here's the alternator right here. This is looking at it from the top. And of course over here is the passenger side. Go straight down. There's the alternator. There's a bolt on the bottom. Right there. Has to come out. There's a bolt on the top. Right there. This is the back side of the bolt. And it's a 13, this bolt is a 13 millimeter. But you have to get it from up top, go on the side, and I've got a 13 millimeter swivel box end wrench on there. It just fell off, but I'll have to put it back on. So I wanted to show you this picture first, but that's not, you don't have to start here. Also, this wire right here runs down here like that, and is wedged down in between here. There's one of those pull out black terrible things that I hate, and it seems like this thing here is also melted against the engine block. So I had to rip that off and get this out of the way, because I couldn't even feel the bolt before. So once I get it out, I'll explain how to do this, the rest of it. Okay, here's the alternator from the bottom. See that? The problem is, this bolt right here, the bottom bolt goes up against that torsion bar right there. And there's no way to budge it. Neither one of those, the torsion bar won't move, the bolt won't move, and it's still too far inside, and I can't swivel that alternator. I got the top bolt undone, and now this one's off, but I can't move it. So I'll get back. Okay, here's a picture of the alternator bracket. It's got 4 bolts that hold it in, so don't bother taking any of those out. Won't do you any good because you can't get to the front too. Right here is the upper bolt. Okay, there it is. Right there. This is the harness, wiring harness that goes back right alongside the top of the connector up here, or right alongside this nut to get to this top bolt. So you gotta pull this thing off. It's stuck. You can see it's got some it's got these plugs, plastic nuisance plugs to hold the cable right to the bracket. And they just plug in right there. So you're gonna pop this harness out, and then you got to get these 2 bolts out, the top and the bottom. And I showed you before how you have to move the sway bar to get the bottom one out. And the sway bar has 2 brackets, one on each side below the radiator, and then the brackets have 2 nuts, or 2 bolts. I think they're 13 millimeter. So probably do the sway bar first, unless you think you can do it without it, but I couldn't get the bolt out enough to swivel the alternator. And with this bracket you can see that there's really nothing you can do. So I had to remove the sway bar. Of course that was all back pedal stuff, you know, to try to get it out, to get the bolt. And it was a 10 millimeter nut on the back. I'll show you the alternator. Here's the alternator, and there's the number in case you want to get a alternator replacement beforehand. This is for an 03, and I think this is the premium sport, so maybe they not, I don't think they're all going to have the exact same alternator. This has all the extra equipment, so it might be more amps, I'm not sure. Of course, the first thing you want to do is disconnect the battery, because if you don't, you're going to have problems with arcing and blowing fuses and stuff like that. That's the battery terminal, 10mm, I think. Oops. I got this sitting up pretty much like it is in the car, so it's just balanced right there. So there's your top mounting bolt, and right here what you have to do is slide it off of there, because that bolt is stationary, I think. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's stationary bolt. See, here's the bracket right here, and you can see just the end of the bolt right there. Well, it's actually just a threaded shaft. There's no head on it or anything. You can't turn it. There's just a bolt or nut back here that screws on, and of course this pulley is attached to the same bracket. So what you have to do is slide the alternator this way. So you have to remove this bottom bolt, and to do that, to get it out far enough, you have to push these transmission cooler lines to the side. They go into the radiator, but it's full of transmission fluid. And then I had to remove the sway bar so I could get the bolt out far enough to pivot this up. You got to pivot the alternator up and then go that way with it, back, to slide it off that top bolt. This top threaded shaft. And this connector back here was difficult to get off. What you have to do is pinch it with a pair of vice grips like this. What I do is I set these to the right tension, lock it in, and then wiggle it. These are just some needle nose vice grips for doing stuff like this, tight things. They work great. Or you can, if you can get a screwdriver in there, get it into the back part here, right up against here, and just push down. Not on here, but on the connector. Connector has a thing there that slides in and locks. So if you push down on the black part of the connector right here, it'll release this. But if you try to get it on the front part, it doesn't really flex. It's just the back end. So that's about it.